Scott Smith. Scott, how are you? What if I today wanted to hire you or not? I was interested in hiring you and I wanted to learn more. What's my next step? What would you take them through?
So, Neil, that's a great question. And first of all, you should hire me because I'm amazing. Uh, so the first thing that I do when I talk to somebody is I want to listen to what their needs are, right? You have to be a great listener and you have to really understand exactly what their goals are so you can focus on helping them accomplish whatever their goals are. When I come in, it's not my goals that matter, it's what the customer's goals are. And once we understand what their goals are, well, then we can begin to tailor a strategy to help them accomplish that. So the first step is really to set up an initial call and talk through what they're struggling with, what their pain points are, and to try to come up with solutions that we think are going to fit well to help match those pain points. But we don't focus on the solutions initially. We just focus on what they're struggling with.
100%. And that's the key thing is focusing on what they're struggling with because ultimately you help help grow and scale businesses by using offshore. So you're ultimately the biggest thing is the pain points of your staffing. Or you can't scale because you don't have the payroll to scale, or
Right.
you don't have the systems and processes in place. So you're going to really learn about the business, the model, and if offshore is the right option for them.
Yeah, that's correct. And, often it is because so many times, in fact, Neil, I was having a conversation this morning that somebody pointed out, the big pain point that they have, the reason that they want to go offshore is cost. And that's the number one reason that they have made the decision to go with an offshore team. They want to keep their costs down. And doing that work offshore, whatever it is a great way to help to manage those costs. Every company has, a cost basis, things that they are trying to accomplish that, cost them money. And so if you can do it in a less expensive way, in a lower cost center with every bit of as high a quality that you can have come to expect from your onshore team, there's no reason not to look at doing it offshore.
100%. Doing it. So there's so many different nuances to what you do. All right. So if during that call you're really breaking down things, how long is that call? You have the initial call to kind of evaluate if you're going to work with them or not.
So, I usually keep like an initial call to about a half an hour just to get a sense of where they're at and what they're doing. If we need to go in a little deeper, and we always need to go in deeper. We don't always have to do that in the first call, but if it needs to be a little deeper, we can push it to an hour because really I want to maximize the benefit and I want to honor the time of the customer because their time is their money. And that's the whole focus of my business is to help drive cost savings and help them maximize how they're utilizing the money that they're spending on their business. So it's about an hour. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, and it really just depends on the client and how much we have to work through in that first call.
And when you work with them, it's not a one time only. You're really looking at the next phase of their business once they scale to a certain point, because you're going to look at all areas of their business that could be scaled.
That's correct. Yeah, we have to look at everything. So often a client will come in and they will have an idea of what they think they need to move offshore. And that's fine. They can have that idea. We can talk through it, and they may be exactly right. But part of my job as a consultant is to help get to the bottom of whether or not that really is the best decision for them. And I will then make my recommendation. At the end of the day, they're the client. If they want to move, process ABC offshore, that's what we'll move. But if we can get to where their real pain is and figure out where they're really struggling, we may find out that while that process is causing them issues, it really will be more beneficial for them to move something else so that they can focus on their core business, especially if what they're really struggling with right now is focus on the core. So many times a business will look at their pain and they'll say, oh, well, I'm struggling with this problem, but the problem they're struggling with is a core business function. And that may not be the best thing to move offshore. It can be, we can talk about it, but it may not be the wisest thing. We may want to focus on non-core functions. And if we can focus on some of those things, we might solve the pain and allow them to focus on doing what they do best, which is that core business function, which is why they started the business to begin with.
It makes so much sense. And how do they schedule a call with you?
So they can come to my website, akataconsulting.com. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can call me at 602-492-1333. I'm available all the time. All they have to do is reach out.
All right. That was the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show on the Akata Consulting.